Hello, welcome to this installment of Supporting Children Through Absence, Preparing Children for Deployment. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship. We are all treaty people. I'm Jennifer Landon, and presenting with me today is Audrey Bowen. I've been supporting children and their families for 15 years. The past 5 years have been here at the H&R MFRC in the role of Child and Family Coordinator, and I'm now in the role of Deployment Coordinator. I'm a proud military spouse. I have 2 young boys. This is my second posting, and before COVID, my family typically experienced frequent short in and out deployments, with a few longer ones thrown in for good measure. And now I invite Audrey to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Audrey Bowen, and I am the Inclusion Program Coordinator for the Shearwaters Children's Center. I see every day how deployment affects military families, especially the children. I will bring my unique perspective and experience from working at the center for 24 years.
Here's the roadmap that we'll be following for this presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to email them to us at deployment@halifaxmfrc.ca. There's a lot of material to cover. If you're watching this as a pre-recording to a live Q&A session, then you'll have already received the handouts. If you're watching through the YouTube channel and would like files sent to you, please send us an email. First, we'll do a quick review of the cycle of deployment and how it affects each member of the family. We'll start by looking at the experiences of the primary caregivers before and during deployment and how they can manage those stresses and support each other. If the caregivers are feeling well and supported, then they're better able to respond to their child's stresses. Speaking of the child's stresses, we'll also look at their experience of the cycle of deployment, what stress can look like for them, and how to support them through it, both at home and from deployment. Our goal is that you come out with an understanding of how deployment affects the family and that you feel empowered to take on the deployment successfully, however you define success. Before we begin, we want to acknowledge that the care of some children will be entrusted to older siblings, extended family, or friends for the duration of the deployment. And it is with this in mind that we use the term caregiver in lieu of parent.
How people react to separations can be highly individual, and there is no right way to do it. However, many military families describe common emotions and experiences which can be summarized in the parenting cycle of deployment. Some of you may be familiar with this, and for others, this will be new. The parenting cycle of deployment is divided into 3 phases. Today, we will be discussing only phase 1, which is before deployment, and phase 2, during deployment. The third phase, after deployment, will be presented on its own in a few months. The purpose of the parenting cycle of deployment is to give you an idea of the range of stress reactions and particularly stressful points during deployment, so you can be aware of yourself and your family's feelings and needs.
Here are the 2 phases that we'll be discussing today, before and during deployment. Each of these phases is divided into 2 stages. Each member of the family has a unique experience for each stage. Phase 1, before deployment, has anticipation of loss and detachment and withdrawal. The anticipation of loss is the time approximately 2 to 3 weeks before departure. Detachment and withdrawal generally occur in the final week or 2 before departure. Phase 2 during deployment has disorientation and equilibrium. Disorientation typically occurs in the time frame immediately following departure. Equilibrium refers to the stage when you start to feel like you're getting your feet under you. New routines start to take structure, plans start to take shape, and some things start to settle. There will still be normal ups and downs, particularly if you're experiencing frequent shorter deployments. Let's quickly go through the deploying member and the at-home caregiver's information. The goal with these next 4 slides is merely to give you an idea of the cycle of deployment, some feelings you may experience, and some awareness of your partner's experience. Please remember that your family may go through the cycle exactly as we describe it, or your family's experience may be very different. This is a description of what many families have reported going through. You will have days when you feel like you have it all under control and days that you just get through. Before the deployment, the member is busy with their preparations, making sure they have their kits ready, completing training classes and exercises, filling out the family contact form for the MFRC. They also want to try to get in family time. Some members are excited and looking forward to the opportunity to travel, work abroad, and put their training to use. This is also the time when they begin to disengage from the family. This phase is sometimes characterized with not getting along, irritability, and withdrawal.
Before deployment, the at-home caregiver is concerned about practical matters. They're concerning all of the what-if scenarios. What if I get sick? What if I need a break? What if there is an emergency? How will I contact the member? What if I need childcare? How do we tell the kids? These are all common questions that the deployment team hears. The caregiver at home is also helping the member pack and get the things they need for deployment. They are also going through their own emotions and feelings and feeling the pressures of holding up the other members of the family. They will also go through their own stage of detachment and withdrawal. We also often hear, I wish this deployment would hurry up and just start already. It is not wishing away the CAF member, but just the anticipation of what the deployment will bring and the desire to get it over with.
When deployment starts, there's still the disorientation period where the member has to transition into the work of the deployment, but still has thoughts of home and family obligations. With time, they settle into the routine and have opportunities to communicate with children and partners and can even participate in some parenting decisions.
The disorientation phase is the work of establishing your new caregiving role and managing new household routines. Essentially, you are taking on what the other partner did and letting some things go. It's normal to find this phase challenging, and it's okay if this phase takes some time. It is okay if you strip the routine down to the bare minimum of what is necessary and add to it when you are feeling more confident. Equilibrium. This is where you are into the groove of running the household with your new routines and responsibilities. You remember to put out the recycling. You made the 30-minute meal in less than an hour. No one was late for work or school. Everybody was in bed at a reasonable hour without too much fuss.
Or you got your child dressed in their hockey gear all on your own in record time. This was a personal deployment victory of mine. I had to watch a YouTube video in the morning because I had no idea what I was doing. Hockey gear is complicated. The picture you see here is called the Mental Health Continuum model. It's part of the Road to Mental Readiness, or the R2MR for short, and its program is used for mental health self-awareness. It's a visual tool you can use to check in with yourself. Mental well-being is not all or nothing. You'll find that you can move all over the continuum. If you're in the green, you are feeling physically well. You have energy, focus, and are socially active. Well, as much as you can be during a pandemic. If you are in the yellow, you may be feeling overwhelmed, nervous, distracted, low energy, have sleep troubles, changes in eating patterns. If you're in the orange, you may feel anxious, angry, sad, hopeless, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, aches, and pains. In the red, you may feel excessive anxiety, aggressive, depressed, can't concentrate, can't sleep. This is just a short list. We'll send you a link in the after session, or you may have already received one. If you want one, please send us an email to deployment@halifaxmfrc.ca and we'll be happy to send you one. A person will not be green all of the time, and you will range into the yellow as you deal with normal stressors. Being in the yellow is normal, but staying in the yellow for prolonged periods of time can affect physical, mental, and spiritual health, and can be a factor of getting into the orange. Using strategies to get back to green is a great way to maintain your wellness. If you find yourself in the orange or red, you may need to reach out for support to get back to the green. We'll go over some of the supports and resources for getting back to the green toward the end of the workshop. Right now, I want you to think about yourself and 3 signs that tell you that you are in the yellow. We'll look at some coping strategies in the next slide, but first, let's just figure out how you will know when you are in the yellow. In the yellow, you might experience wanting to graze all day in junk food or skip meals entirely. Hit the snooze button several times if you normally get up pretty early and quickly with the first alarm. Letting the kids sleep longer than usual and disrupting their schedule once in a while is okay, but we mean that they're being allowed to sleep longer so you can have a break, even though it means that they won't go to bed at night. Snapping at family members, avoiding texts with friends, laundry piling up, scrolling through your phone with no real purpose while your child says, "Hey mom, look at me, do this jump, look at me, look at me." Now that you've considered some of the behaviors that warn you that you aren't feeling your best, let's take a moment to consider what to do about it. When to action your mental health plan.
Life is busy and it gets a lot busier during deployment, especially for the parent that is left at home to take care of the household. There are always tasks to do at home. Work is busy and can be stressful. Your children need your time and energy, and your calendar is jammed full. In an effort to keep your schedule under control, you sometimes skip meals, skip exercising, and cancel plans with friends. When life is busy, self-care is the first thing we sacrifice. Looking after your well-being will help you be productive and care for others. Quote from Eleanor Brown: "Self-care is not selfish. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. Self-care helps to prevent burnout. Self-care helps relationships, and self-care makes you more effective." Now, we would like you to take a moment to make a quick plan. It's tough to come up with a strategy at the time. What is one thing that you can do for yourself when you feel in the yellow? And then write it down. So some things you can try is deep breathing, get enough rest, food, and exercise, talk to someone, focus on one task at a time. There are many more, and if you want, we can discuss these in the live Q&A session. Something to consider when thinking about your plan is how well you will communicate and support each other as caregivers experiencing a deployment. What is your parenting plan? How will you share your information? Will it be email, text, phone? Be aware of communication blackouts. Working together. What kind of decisions need to be shared decisions? What decisions can be left up to the caregiver at home? This is an important step. Parenting from afar can be very frustrating, and communication between parenting partners is challenging, especially when technology doesn't allow for even basic communication. Have this conversation before departure if possible.
Preparing for deployment. This stage is divided into two parts. Anticipation of loss. Reactions from children during this stage can be different depending on ages and stages. Younger children may have difficulty understanding time, while older children may need time to adapt. Some children may ask if the parent really must go, while others may not fully understand the reason behind the deployment. In a child's mind, it may feel like the parent is choosing to go away, leaving them feeling abandoned. They may also feel guilty or worried that their behavior is causing their parent to leave, or feel resentment toward the parent for leaving. With detachment and withdrawal, children are quite intuitive in nature and can often sense the stress that's around them. They'll let you know if they are feeling stress through their behavior. Each child is unique in the way they process and express their feelings, including stress. Some of you may see some of the following in your children: clinginess, worries, withdrawal, connection-seeking behavior, regression, emotional overwhelm, easily irritated, distracted, and changes to biological routine like sleep, toileting, or eating, or their diet.
Disorientation. Young children might struggle to understand how long the parent will be gone for. They may also test their limits and boundaries as they adapt to the new family structure. Children may experience mixed emotions of confusion, anger, and relief from the tension of the previous phase. Some children may try to take on the role of the deployed parent. This can have a really positive outcome so long as the roles that they take on are appropriate for their developmental age. For example, when the tween or teen takes out the garbage or mows the lawn. There could also be a negative effect when the child tries to take on the parenting for support role of the parent who is away. Some children do this with the best of intentions, but as adults who love them need to ensure that their childhood is maintained, even if they are almost adults. Older children may worry about the safety and comfort of the deployed parent. With more awareness of the world through social media, they may need extra limits to what they view online. Equilibrium. Everybody is adjusting to the new normal. Everyone is comfortable in their new roles. Everybody helping everybody. Kids are eating well and sleeping well, doing well in school. There will still be some normal ups and downs, particularly if you're experiencing frequent, shorter deployments.
Here's the mental health continuum again, only now we're going to look at it from your child's perspective. All children feel stress. Yes, all ages, from your baby to your youth. How they each express their stress will be unique. It will be determined by their age, stage of development, temperament, learning experiences, and more. So if they're so unique, how do we know our children are feeling stress? Depending on their age and experience, they might not have the words or understanding to clearly express their feelings. Like we mentioned earlier, we aren't always one color, and our children are the same. Children who are green are generally able to play, learn, and problem solve according to their developmental stage. This doesn't mean that they aren't experiencing challenges, but most of the time they're doing well and able to manage stress, going from green to yellow and back again to green. Children who are showing signs of stress, spending more time in the orange and red than the green, will complain of stomach aches. Well, they might complain of stomach aches, headaches. They may whine more, show changes in habits like they're eating, sleeping, toileting, have bouts of sadness. Some may panic. They might cry, become emotional, arguing. You might see some fighting or aggression, challenges with paying attention, not wanting to go to school. They might be quieter than typical, might not be caring about things that they typically would care about. They might not get along with others, and that could be with family and even with friends. And now some of you might be thinking, well, all kids have that, do that every now and then. And my kid or my kid's always like that. Here we're talking about a stress reaction. We're talking about an increase in the frequency, duration, or intensity of these symptoms. So they seem to be a little bit more than they were before. We're talking about a change in behavior other than what you would typically see in your child. If your child is 80% of the time in the green, then that's a good sign. If your child is spending a significant amount of time in the orange and red, then please seek some extra support. I'll share some supports available to families at the end of our session.
When to tell them. 1 month passage of time, 0 to 9, 10 plus, you can tell earlier. Older teens, just be straightforward. You know your kids, tell them when you think it's best, but don't spring it on them just before leaving, unless it was sprung on you, and don't tell them too early. They will overthink it. Give as much information as your child understands. Example, dad has to go to the Middle East for 6 months. Too challenging to understand for young children. They don't know where that is or how long. It's fine for youth. Use markers kids understand. Birthdays, holidays, visual cues, the globe, a map. You can get a map from the deployment team. When we are back in the office again, we can mail one to you, can pick up one. It has stickers to track locations and dates. Language, use correct terms for types of work. Deployment, field, training, on course. Avoid work trip. May expect return in a week or become upset when caregiver goes to work. Name the country where they are going. Remind children what can be posted on social media. Don't share your own personal fears or stress. They don't need to hear all of your adult fears and feelings. Older children will ask questions and understand more. Emphasize all the training, preparing, learning what the member needs to know to stay safe. They have done everything they can to prepare. We have to trust they have the knowledge and equipment they need. They are also not alone. They are working with their unit as a group. Youth will ask difficult questions. Let them know preparations have been made to ensure their security as well if the member does not return. You must gauge this information in terms of how old your child is. Article 17 of the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child, children have a right to information and to seek that information. But within that right, they are to have an adult help them learn and understand and to protect them from harmful information. They have a right to know, but they need to know everything. 2 helpful websites for younger children are Sesame Street for militaryfamilies.org or 0to3.org. Just type in military in the search bar and many articles will come up.
With regards to social media and teens, talk to them about OPSEC and PERSEC rules. So OPSEC rules are the operational security and PERSEC rules are personal security. So that's basically the idea of what can and can't go on social media. You can't assume that they know or have thought about all the ramifications if they do post something. Some things to consider are posting information that they're even part of a military family or experiencing a deployment. Some details of the operations, like locations, dates, weapons, equipment, their conditions, and the general morale. All information to consider when sharing social media. Also pictures, decide as a family if it's okay to share posts from the ships. Avoid some personal photos if you want. It's up to you to decide as a family. Gossip and rumors. It's really something to be cautious about with posting that on, Facebook or any of the other social media platforms. Also injuries or casualties before an official release. All that kind of information is important to be protected.
Children of all ages can feel off balance as they cope with deployment. As we saw with the mental health continuum, they can show their stress in many ways. Just like they are unique in their expression of stress, they will need unique coping strategies. Here are a few that you can consider. Focus on the child's feelings and not their behavior, using I messages to help your child learn to label emotions. Talking about them often, not just when the child is sad, mad, etc. Acknowledge their feelings and tell them the behaviors that suggest to you that they are feeling that way. It takes a while to learn how to identify emotions, but it is the start of managing them. Examples, I can see that you are sad. Is that why you are crying? I can see that you are mad. Is that why you are growling and making fists? I know you wanted that toy, but it is not your turn. When your brother is done, you can use it. What can you do while you wait? Another example, wow, look how proud you are. You are grinning from ear to ear and standing tall. You worked hard on that. And the last one, you have such a great laugh. You sound so happy. To teach them to breathe when they are having difficulty regulating their emotions. Mind Masters is a great program for teaching breathing to young children. We will send you the link so you can check it out, so you can check out Jelly Belly. And just ride the wave of emotion. Make it safe to have and express emotions. Aggression may happen and might be addressed. I love you and you are important. It is my job to keep you safe. I cannot let you hit me. For more information on big emotions, check out our Managing Big Emotions recording on YouTube. You can also teach your children to count to 10 forward and backward. This will give them a way to help them calm down. It's a pause between whatever triggered the emotion and their actions. You can also write a mini story about you and your child. Babies and kids love to look at pictures, especially ones of themselves and people they know. This can be done very simply on a one-page document in Word. Paste a few pictures of you and your child and include simple phrases like, baby and daddy have fun, baby and daddy play together, daddy loves baby. Change baby to your child's name. I recommend laminating the page. It will get wet, dirty, and it will be used quite often. Create a routine and be flexible. A routine makes life predictable and comfortable for your child. This can help them feel safe, especially during the disorientation phase. It's okay to break out of the routine every now and then to have a little fun too. You might be concerned about departure day. Young kids may not feel sad immediately. Give it time to sink in. The childcare teachers at the MFRC have found that kids usually start to show their feelings at school about 2 weeks after departure day. You might have sad feelings that day. Consider your plan for the day. Do you want to be kept busy? Will the kids go to school? Will you go to the waterfront parking lot to wave them goodbye? Will they leave in a taxi? Will you drop off as a family? Will somebody stay home with the kids while you drop them off yourself? How will you give yourself and your family grace that day? Do what is best for your family.
Helping your youth deal with deployment. Each child may react differently, so pay close attention to their reactions. Reactions may vary depending on the child, their age, and previous experience with deployment. Here are some tips on helping youth deal with deployment. These are not one size fits all. You'll have some that resonate with you and others you will think, there is no way my youth is going to let me do that. Just pick what you think will work and try it, then go from there. Make it easy to communicate. Have a family discussion about deployment. Share information about military actions, as appropriate. Plan some one-on-one time with either caregiver. Approach conversations from your youth's perspective. Be mindful of how much responsibility your youth is taking on and manage expectations. Is it obtainable to have a parent away, a pandemic, and perfect grade? Offer special journal for teens to write their feelings in, and you as the caregiver can respond. A place to communicate without having eye-to-eye conversation. Talk in the car while driving or do some kind of activity so they don't have to make that eye contact. Show empathy and model some emotional management. Suggest ways for your youth to deal with stress, but make sure you walk the talk. Model stress management. Offer mental health or well-being days, a day off from school or a break from chores. Emphasize the importance of time to relax, time for rest. Focus on the positives. What have they done well? What good have you noticed? Youth are more likely to be open to conversation if they feel they don't have a lot of negativity surrounding them. Post positive affirmations on the walls. Use window writers to put it on mirrors or send some texts. Make it easy to connect. This will help normalize the emotions and experience. Connect with an older mentor, maybe a family friend who has also been through deployment. Join the youth center activities and other military support programs for your family. Join in their activities, if they let you, or at least show interest. Ask them about it. Distractions in a healthy way. Something to take their mind off the deployment. Help them find an outlet. Is it exercise, sports teams, any extracurricular activities, taking a particular class like drawing, or find a hobby. Plan activities throughout the deployment. Some fun things to look forward to. Give a distraction, not to avoid thoughts or feelings, but to use it as a tool to acknowledge the feeling and accept it for what it is, and that they may not be ready to deal with it right at that moment. Allow them to experience the emotion and remind them that the feeling won't last forever. Then move on to a new activity to prevent rumination. Rumination is just overthinking. This could look like, I can see you're feeling really crummy right now. Let's stay in, pop some popcorn, and you can show me your favorite movie, or we can play a video game or craft or whatever you want to do. Tomorrow we will, and you can choose however you're going to maybe discuss it or just do something else. And yes, you might get, can't you just leave me alone? You know your kid. You know if the answer is yes or no, or if you can joke about it. The point is more that you showed up and gave an opportunity to share and connect, and you remain open when they're ready. No matter your child's age, their behavior is communication, and so is yours. Show them that you are there to help them learn. Let your words and actions say, I'm here, I hear you, and how can I help?
What are your child's strengths? Children are all at different developmental ages and stages, and how they operate in the world is different. There is no right or wrong. What children need is the opportunity to be themselves. We need to meet them where they are at and focus on their individual needs. We send the message, we understand them. It is important to stop and acknowledge your child's strengths. It is easy to get caught up in the busy world of parenting, let alone parenting during a deployment, where you are able to stop and think about your child's strengths. What are they? Recognizing and focusing on your child's strengths also helps us to identify our child's needs and what they can do and what we can do to meet them. A can-do spirit where family members acknowledge strengths and abilities of one another and build on the positive allows the family to not just survive, but to flourish.
Absences are hard. Let's just call a spade here. But the reality is they don't have to be tough all the time. There are good, fun moments. The more positivity that you can muster for yourself and your family, the better the experience can be. Here are a few ways to stay motivated and keep that positive spirit going so your family can make the most out of the absence. Departure day. Some families go see their member off, others treat it like any other day, and some make fun plans to keep everyone distracted, like going to the zoo, going on a hike, skating, or to a fun park. Build some deployment traditions to look forward to. My family, we do Happy Meals on Fridays. Other families do Sundays. Kim Mills from She Is Fierce blog does deployment dinners where she invites someone new for dinner on Friday nights. Eat special foods, like eating the stuff the deployed member doesn't like, but the rest of the family does. Update some family photos, even if it's a friend who takes the photos or just funny Snapchats, and print them out and put them up in bedrooms and throughout the house. Some families have found getting a deployment doll to be helpful. We have one. Ours is a little Fisher Price People's Soldier that I found at a grocery store years ago. We also have a Build-A-Bear. I've heard of people decorating pillowcases. They paint them all together, and one is for the member to take with them, and one is from each family member at home, and they write little motivational quotes on them. Celebrate milestones. You can celebrate traditional milestones like passing the 1 month mark, 100th day, halfway, each month, or even non-traditional ones like this is the last care package, this is the last hockey game, they'll be home to watch the next one. Try a countdown calendar. Develop a deployment bucket list. Have a family meeting and pick out a few fun things you want to accomplish together. Some of them could be 100 hours of outdoor play, going on 2 trips to the beach, having a tobogganing and hot chocolate trip, read 10 books, do 50 hours of service to others. It's whatever works for your family, whatever you guys want to do for fun. Create a time capsule. Get a box, mark some statistics on it for the beginning of the deployment, like your child's height, their favorite colors, favorite foods. Use the deployment calendar to track the special events, memories, and time. Put special keepsakes collected during the deployment in the box. And then at the end, you have everything from this unique experience all in one place. And your child can show their loved one when they return and then tuck it away as a souvenir. If you have any tips or tricks for making deployments fun and memorable for kids, please email them to us. We are always looking for more ideas. And by the way, the fun isn't just for the families at home. When you are deployed, you can also join in with some of the fun and maintain your connection with your children. Videos. Take videos of you coming in the door, reading a book, saying goodnight, eating snack together, just playing. Videos of, words of encouragement for special events or rites of passage. These kind of videos mean a lot to kids, and they'll play them over and over again during the deployment. Reading books together is not just for young children. You and your youth can choose to read a novel and discuss it when you call. Take advantage of technology, the tablet and the cell phone. Use video chat, messenger kids, play hide and seek with on Zoom. You can play around with the tablet and hide the tablet. And then the child has to find it. And then they found you. You can play I Spy. You can watch special events you can show by showing up virtually for a recital or a game. Play online games together. Use the Flat Me, Flat Daddy, Flat Mommy, or a deployment stuffy. Send pictures of it doing different things on the deployment. We can send you the Flat Daddy, Flat Me instructions. Take pictures of your bunk where you eat, what the toilet looks like, especially if it's different from home. Trust me, this is hilarious for kids from potty training through about 6 years old. Send a video of you doing a fun part of your job, but remember not to compromise operational security, obviously. Start a collection. Start before leaving and see if there's anything you can add to it. Example, rocks, ethnic dolls, charm bracelets, stamps, coins, Pez dispensers, stickers, patches. Mail letters or postcards, you can get your hands on some. Do surprise deliveries. Arrange for a pizza night or flowers or treats after special events. Some can be purchased ahead of time and wrapped for special occasions and labeled "Don't open until." Some will need some help from the caregiver at home, or others you can order online. There are many ways of maintaining connection from afar. You will need to find what works for you and your family. If one strategy doesn't work, try another. Many kids find it challenging to stop what they're doing to talk to you on the phone. They aren't used to talking to you on the phone and may not want to. It's also disappointing when a call is dropped or talking on the phone brings up sad feelings. Be patient and persistent with trying out strategies that the kids are responsive to. It's not about you. They aren't trying to hurt your feelings. They are working through their own emotions, and you can support their journey by showing up in different ways.
It is not always fun and games. Deployment can get tough. So when do you ask for help and where do you get it? You ask for help if you or your child are spending a lot of time in orange and red, or you think you need it. You know your children well and you know yourselves. Trust in the power of your gut. If you are feeling like something is even a little off and you want to talk it out with someone, then it's time to reach out. There are a few different resources that are available to you when you are feeling like some extra support or information is needed. If you are watching from YouTube and are not based out of CFB Halifax or 12 Wing Shearwater, some of these resources may not be available to you.
So where to get help? The Halifax and Region Military Family Resource Center. We have our mental health and well-being team. Their support can be accessed for a variety of reasons, including work-related separations, parenting challenges, special needs, relationship issues, separation and divorce, grief and loss, and family violence. Counselors are able to provide referrals to other community agencies and supports as well as education and prevention programming. We have adult social programs like deployment live chat and live Q&As. We have youth social programs over at the Henderson Sweetman Youth Center.
The role of the ECE and your child's teachers play a vital role when a member is deployed for a significant period of time. Remember, your child spends a significant amount of time at childcare and at school. Tell the ECEs and their teachers in your child's classroom when the parent is being deployed and for how long. The ECEs and teachers will be able to observe your child and let you know if there are any changes in your child's behavior. The ECEs at the Shearwaters Children's Center and the Windsor Park Children's Center are trained to deal with children's behavior that is caused by a parent being deployed.
There are also resources at Canadian Forces Morale and Welfare Services. There's the Family Information Line, which offers supportive counseling 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. For eligibility, it's for a spouse, partner, child, parent, or relative of a CAF member, including families of the fallen. You can contact them by calling 1-800-866-4546. There is also CIFMAP, which is the Canadian Forces Members Assistance Plan, which offers confidential 24/7 line to help with well-being and work performance concerns. Eligibility is CAF community, including Reg Force, Reserve Force cadets and their families. They have professional counselors through the Employee Assistance Service of Health Canada. And they offer short-term counseling at a maximum of 8 sessions per situation, and you can contact them by calling 1-800-268-7708. Strongest Families is a fabulous no-cost option available to you. It's available to military families. It offers parenting coaching by telephone to families with a child or youth that is struggling with anxiety or behavior challenges. Strongest Families also has a program for adults called I Can, Conquering Anxiety and Nervousness. Padre and faith groups. If you have a faith group that you trust, reach out to them. Tell them you're facing a deployment. See if there's anyone you can lean on. You can also call the H&R MFRC and ask to speak with the duty padre or chaplain, and our staff can help you get connected. This is also the best method for sending an emergency message to your loved one on a deployment. The padre and the command team will make sure that they get the information in the most respectful way possible. And don't forget your bubble of friends, the people you know, your mentors, people you meet at deployment activities, volunteers, volunteer opportunities, your work. Lean on your friends for support.
And to end, celebrate your triumphs. You will have victories every day. How will you recognize them and how will you celebrate them? On time for the bus, staying calm during a meltdown with your child. Everybody ate some fruit or vegetables today. One step at a time. Each step is a unique victory. Today, my shower may be my triumph, and tomorrow it may be that I read an entire article uninterrupted. Every victory, big or small, is worth acknowledging. Acknowledging your triumphs daily maintains one healthy growth mindset.
You've already had a victory today. You showed up. You showed up today to learn more and made it to the end of this video. Celebrate that. Celebrate it. Give yourself a pat on the back. You did it. Thank you for listening to our recording. If you're joining us for the live Q&A, we look forward to seeing you. If you have any questions, please email them to deployment@halifaxmfrc.ca. Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.